They said things about you, they asked around, they tried to dig up dirt. And you want to know what they found? Absolutely nothing. They found nothing but praise, nothing but good stories, nothing but people speaking highly of you. And you know what that did to them? It made them feel stupid. It made them feel ridiculous for ever doubting you, for ever questioning the light that you carry. Now, I know some of you are thinking, but how? You've been through it, the trials, the tests, the haters, and you're wondering how you can get to that place where your reputation speaks for itself, where the very people who doubted you are left with nothing but praise. Trust me, it's not about luck, it's not about playing a game. It's about a spiritual awakening. It's about aligning with your divine purpose. It's about becoming so authentically you, so rooted in God's grace that your very presence becomes a testament to your character. I remember this one time I was working on a big project and there was this person, let's call them Caleb. Caleb was, let's just say, an Olympic level gossip. He had a black belt in bad-mouthing and a PhD in pulling people down. He didn't like me. I knew it. He knew it. The whole office knew it. It wasn't about anything I'd done, it was just his thing. He saw my light and wanted to dim it. So what did Caleb do? He went on a full-blown campaign. He talked to our colleagues, our managers, and even people in different departments. He would subtly drop hints, plant seeds of doubt, and try to make people question my intentions. He was trying to build a case against me, but he was building it on sand. The funny thing is, I wasn't even aware of the extent of it at the time. I was just focused on my work, on staying in my lane, and on treating everyone with kindness, even Caleb. One day, my manager pulled me aside. I thought, this is it. The Caleb-pocalypse has arrived. But my manager looked at me and said, I have to tell you something. Caleb has been, well, let's just say he's been trying to create some issues, but every single person I've talked to, from your peers to your clients, has had nothing but incredible things to say about you. They describe you as hardworking, kind, and a person of integrity. They have so much love and respect for you that anything he said just fell flat. My manager then looked at me with a mix of awe and a little bit of confusion and said, honestly, you've made him look like a fool. The people he tried to turn against you are now going out of their way to defend you. He literally built a case for how amazing you are without even realizing it. That was the moment I realized the power of a quiet spirit and a life lived in alignment with God. When you walk in your purpose, when you carry yourself with grace and integrity, your character becomes a fortress. Your reputation becomes a shield. So today, my chosen ones, if you're feeling like someone is trying to tear you down, if you're sensing the spiritual warfare around you, don't you dare fight back with their weapons. You fight back with your light. Stick around because I'm going to break down the 7 spiritual principles that will not only leave your haters in awe, but will also make them feel completely foolish for ever coming against you. This isn't a guide on revenge, it's a guide on spiritual victory. You're going to want to watch this video to the very end to help you stay awake in your spiritual journey. Point 1, the power of silence. This one is a classic, yet so few truly understand the power it holds. When people are talking about you, the most powerful thing you can do is to say nothing at all. Silence is not weakness. It's strategy, wisdom, and an invisible shield that protects your energy. Think about it. Gossip, rumors, and negativity are like roaring fires. They only burn when they have fuel. Every reaction, every defense, every angry word you throw back is like adding another log to that fire. When you stay silent, you deny them the fuel they crave. You're no longer feeding the fire, you're letting it sputter and die on its own. History gives us countless examples of this principle in action. Consider the lives of great leaders, innovators, and spiritual figures. Mahatma Gandhi, for instance, faced endless ridicule, attacks, and skepticism throughout his life, yet he rarely responded in anger or defensiveness. Instead, he chose the power of patience, discernment, and, most importantly, silence. His ability to rise above the noise became a weapon stronger than any argument. The world watched, and in that silence, his influence grew. Silence, in essence, amplifies your inner strength because it demonstrates that you are not a product of your environment. You are the master of it. Even in the realm of science, this principle resonates. Studies on human behavior show that people who react impulsively to criticism or gossip often escalate conflict, while those who remain composed and silent are perceived as more intelligent, grounded, and commanding of respect. Neuroscience tells us that our brains respond to provocation with stress and adrenaline, but when we consciously choose to remain silent, we maintain clarity, control, and emotional balance. Silence is a way of telling the world, I am aware, I am in control, and I do not need your validation. The wisdom of this approach is echoed in sacred texts as well. Proverbs 17:28 says, even a fool is thought wise when he keeps silent. When he holds his lips, he is considered to have discernment. This is not just ancient advice, it's timeless. It reminds us that silence is not absence, it is presence in its most refined form. When faced with gossip, lies, or accusations, responding often places you on the same battlefield as those who seek to diminish you, but silence elevates you. It positions you above the fray on a mountaintop where perspective is clear and energy is preserved. Being silent in the face of negativity also sends a message more powerful than words ever could. It signals that you are operating on a different frequency, one that others cannot reach with their small, petty attempts to provoke. It's a subtle yet undeniable assertion of strength. Imagine a predator in the wild stalking its prey, yet the prey does not react in panic. The predator grows restless, loses energy, and ultimately gives up. That is exactly what your silence does in the human world. It disarms aggression without aggression. It communicates confidence, wisdom, and a higher level of understanding that is both magnetic and intimidating. So, when the world hurls gossip, false accusations, or negativity at you, remember this. Your silence is not emptiness, it is power. It is the invisible shield that protects your essence, the quiet roar that cannot be silenced, and the statement that words could never match. Stand firm, rise above, and let silence speak for you. In doing so, you are not just surviving the noise, you are mastering it. Point 2. Your character speaks louder than their words. Your reputation, the one carefully built on genuine acts of kindness, unwavering integrity, and quiet grace, is not just a social construct, it's spiritual armor. Imagine it as an invisible shield, a divine character witness that speaks louder than words ever could. In a world where words are cheap and people rush to judge, the energy of your consistent actions resonates in a way that no rumor or false accusation ever can. It's fascinating when you think about it. Every selfless act, every moment you choose honesty over convenience, and every time you extend compassion to someone who may never repay you, you are quietly scripting a story about yourself that no one, not even those with ill intent, can easily erase. History is full of examples where a solid reputation acted as an unspoken guardian. Consider Nelson Mandela. Despite spending 27 years in prison, his unwavering commitment to justice and reconciliation built a reputation so profound that even his critics had to acknowledge his integrity. The power of character is universal. It transcends time, culture, and circumstance. For the chosen ones, this principle is even more spiritual. Your life becomes a testament to divine truth in action. When someone tries to poison the well, whether with gossip, envy, or slander, the people who truly know you instinctively filter out the lies. It's not magic. It's the cumulative effect of your consistent alignment with higher principles. Think of your good heart as a firewall. In technology, a firewall monitors incoming data and decides what to allow through and what to block. Similarly, your reputation filters what information others believe about you. When someone spreads falsehoods, the firewall of your character scrutinizes their words. Those who have witnessed your integrity and generosity can immediately sense the discord. They might hear the rumor and instinctively think, that doesn't align with the person I know. In a sense, your actions create a social and spiritual filter, protecting your essence from being diluted or misrepresented. It's fascinating how the universe seems to work in this way. Energy always carries the signature of intention. If your life consistently radiates authenticity and goodness, that energy echoes in every relationship, every community, and even across generations. But let's make it even more tangible. Every time you choose to act with grace in the face of adversity, you are laying down spiritual bricks that reinforce your reputation. Every ethical choice, no matter how small, contributes to a living, breathing narrative of who you are. People may try to distort this narrative, but it's nearly impossible to overwrite the mosaic of integrity you've spent years crafting. Even the faintest whisper of your true nature, has the power to override the loudest lie. This is why your reputation is not vanity. It is a tool of empowerment, a shield of protection, and a beacon for those who seek alignment with truth. For the chosen ones, this principle carries an added layer of significance. Your life is not just yours. It is a channel for higher purpose. The energy you emit, the actions you take, and the compassion you extend ripple through the lives of others in ways you may never fully comprehend. A good reputation rooted in divine principles becomes both a personal safeguard and a spiritual amplifier. It ensures that no matter the storms of slander or envy, your true essence cannot be obscured. People may attempt to tarnish your image, but your authenticity, the deep, unshakable core of your character, always shines through. In the end, your reputation is more than a reflection of who you are. It is a manifestation of the godly path you walk. It protects you, uplifts you, and ensures that your light cannot be dimmed by falsehood. It reminds us that the most powerful legacy is not wealth or recognition, but a life of unwavering integrity, radiant kindness, and quiet, enduring grace. Point 3. The spiritual law of alignment. When you're walking in perfect alignment with God's plan for your life, the stakes are higher than most people realize. Your journey is no longer just a personal quest. It has cosmic significance. When enemies rise against you, they are not merely targeting your human self. They are challenging God's plan, the divine orchestration that has been meticulously unfolding since before time began. Imagine trying to stop the sunrise or divert the course of a river with your bare hands. That's the scale of resistance they are facing. The universe, which God crafted with infinite wisdom, is designed to support those who follow His guidance. Every seemingly small step you take in faith is backed by an invisible force that not even the most cunning adversaries can circumvent. History is full of examples of individuals who were misunderstood, opposed, or attacked simply because they were aligned with a higher purpose. Moses faced Pharaoh's army, Daniel faced the lions, and Jesus faced the cross, not because they were careless or weak, but because their enemies were, in essence, standing against divine authority. Their stories teach us a crucial truth. Opposition is often the signpost of destiny. If you encounter resistance, ridicule, or sabotage on your path, it is a subtle but powerful confirmation that you are walking exactly where you are supposed to be. The universe, God's creation, is conspiring in your favor, even when it seems like everything is falling apart. This alignment with God doesn't make your path free from obstacles, but it transforms the nature of those obstacles. While your enemies expend their energy plotting, scheming, and doubting your abilities, you are being propelled forward by a force far greater than any human opposition. It's like swimming downstream with the current of a mighty river while your detractors are struggling upstream in the rapids. They tire themselves out, while you glide effortlessly, sustained and strengthened by divine momentum. It's important to realize that this is not luck or coincidence. It is a blessing, a sign of being chosen and set apart for a purpose that transcends the ordinary. Moreover, when you understand this principle, your perspective on adversity changes. Instead of feeling fearful or frustrated when someone tries to block your progress, you begin to see it as an indicator that you are on the right path. Challenges become markers of divine alignment, not reasons to question your journey. This mindset is powerful because it allows you to remain steadfast, calm, and focused, even as others are consumed by envy, resentment, or bitterness. You are operating on a higher plane, moving with the current of God's favor, while your enemies expend energy on battles they cannot win. Their schemes may be elaborate, their words sharp, but ultimately they are powerless against the ordained plan. The beauty of this alignment is that it creates resilience, not just in your external circumstances, but in your spirit. You realize that opposition is temporary, but God's purpose is eternal. The haters will exhaust themselves, they always do, but you will not. You are sustained, guided, and elevated by a force that transcends human limitations. Every setback they attempt to impose, every lie they whisper, and every obstacle they throw in your path is transformed into a stepping stone toward your destiny. In essence, the universe itself becomes your ally, a reflection of the divine order that supports those who are walking in harmony with God. So when you find yourself facing opposition, remember this: it's not just you being targeted, it's God's plan being tested. And just as the tide cannot be stopped and the sun cannot be dimmed, neither can your divinely orchestrated path be derailed. You are the chosen, walking in alignment, and no earthly force, no matter how persistent, can undo the work that God is doing in and through you. Point 4, forgiveness is your secret weapon. This might sound counterintuitive, but forgiveness is perhaps the most potent weapon you possess. A weapon so powerful that it doesn't just affect those around you, it transforms you. Many of us think of forgiveness as weakness, a concession to someone who has wronged us, but in truth it is a masterstroke of strength and wisdom. When someone hurts you, when they betray your trust or wound your spirit, your instinct is to hold on, grip tightly to that anger, to that bitterness, believing it shields you, believing it gives you power. But here's the paradox. Every moment you cling to that negativity, you're the one chained. Every heartbeat spent in resentment fuels the prison around your own soul. Ironically, it's the person who harmed you who becomes irrelevant, yet their actions continue to dominate your inner landscape because you've allowed them to. Forgiveness, on the other hand, is like a master key. It doesn't unlock the door for someone else, it unlocks the chains around your own wrists. Neuroscience even backs this up. Studies show that harboring anger and grudges activates the amygdala, the part of the brain responsible for stress responses, keeping you in a constant state of fight or flight. Over time, this chronic stress can affect your immune system, your heart, and even your cognitive functions. Forgiveness isn't just spiritual, it's biological. When you let go, when you truly release that resentment, your brain floods with oxytocin and endorphins, chemicals that bring peace, joy, and a profound sense of freedom. In essence, forgiveness is a self-care ritual disguised as a moral choice. But don't mistake forgiveness for excusing or condoning what was done. Forgiving someone does not erase the past. It doesn't make their actions acceptable. Think of it as stepping off a treadmill of pain where they forced you to run in circles of anger and helplessness. You acknowledge what happened. You learn from it, and then you choose to rise above it. By doing so, you flip the script entirely. You take the narrative of power away from your adversary and reclaim it for yourself. There's a story from ancient history that illustrates this beautifully. Emperor Ashoka of India, after years of conquest and bloodshed, embraced forgiveness and non-violence. By letting go of past cruelty, he transformed an empire from fear-based rule into one guided by compassion and wisdom. Forgiveness, even on a grand scale, changes the world, but most importantly, it changes the one who wields it. The real brilliance of forgiveness lies in its subtlety. While the person who wronged you may remain mired in their own bitterness while they stew in guilt, envy, or hatred, you move forward with clarity and lightness. You pray for them, not because they necessarily deserve it, but because it solidifies your detachment from their influence. Every act of genuine forgiveness is like casting off a weight you've been carrying. Suddenly your steps are lighter, your mind sharper, and your soul freer. It is a strategy that requires no confrontation, no argument, and no battle, yet it guarantees victory. It's a win-win situation. You liberate yourself and they remain trapped in the swamp of their own unresolved darkness. So, chosen ones, consider this your secret weapon in a world where so many are obsessed with retaliation, where so many are willing to burn bridges and clutch grudges. You have the rare power to rise above, to move unburdened, to carry light in the wake of darkness. Forgiveness is your choice, your sovereignty, your ultimate declaration that no one, not circumstance, not enemy, not betrayal, will ever hold dominion over your spirit. Choose it and watch as your life transforms not through force, but through the quiet, unstoppable power of freedom. Point 5, humility is your armor. In a world that celebrates arrogance, humility is a radical and powerful act. Everywhere you look, society seems obsessed with loudness. People vying for attention, social media feeds flooded with self-promotion, and ego masquerading as accomplishment. But for the chosen ones, the path is different. True power doesn't roar, it whispers. Humility is not weakness. It's a form of spiritual strength that those who understand the deeper currents of life recognize instantly. When you embrace humility, you step off the treadmill of comparison and competition. You stop measuring yourself against others, and paradoxically, that's when life begins to elevate you in ways that arrogance never could. It's like stepping into a secret current that carries you forward while everyone else is paddling against the tide. When you're humble, you're not threatened by others' success. Instead of feeling envy or resentment, you see it as a reflection of possibility, a mirror showing that greatness exists and that it's attainable. You don't need to shout about your own accomplishments because you know the universe, or God, if you will, sees the work you're quietly doing. There's a fascinating spiritual principle at play here. The more you humble yourself, the more God lifts you up. It's a paradox that has been echoed through the ages in wisdom traditions around the world. In the Bible, Proverbs 22:4 says, "Humility is the fear of the Lord, its wages are riches and honor and life." Sufi mystics teach that the ego is a veil that blinds us to divine grace, and the act of humbling oneself is like lifting that veil to allow higher energy to flow. Humility is the vessel, success is the water that fills it. Here's the game-changing part. Humility disarms your adversaries, your haters, those who expect confrontation, aggression, or defensiveness, suddenly find themselves at a loss. It's the classic scenario of someone coming ready for a fight, and you show up with flowers. What are they going to do? Punch the flowers? When you respond with calm, grace, and quiet confidence instead of aggression, it creates a sort of spiritual friction that cannot be faked or manipulated. People who thrive on conflict and chaos are often thrown off balance by a humble presence. The very energy they try to provoke in you simply bounces off, leaving them to wrestle with their own frustration while you move forward unaffected. And let's talk about longevity. Humility is sustainable. Loud, aggressive energy burns hot and fast. It's exhausting and often isolating. Humility, on the other hand, builds invisible reserves of strength. It nurtures patience, resilience, and perspective. When you're humble, you're more open to learning from failure because ego doesn't blind you to mistakes. You see setbacks as lessons, not threats. And this quiet resilience is what allows chosen ones to rise steadily, almost imperceptibly, until the world has no choice but to acknowledge their impact. Ultimately, humility is the ultimate power move for the spiritually awakened. It's a choice to trust in a force greater than yourself, to work diligently without the craving for recognition, and to radiate calm in a world fueled by chaos. While others fight to be seen, you cultivate a presence that can't be ignored, not through noise, but through substance. Humility becomes your armor, your strategy, and your victory all at once. And the beautiful irony is this: the lower you bend, the higher life lifts you. In this way, humility is not just a virtue, it's the secret weapon of the chosen ones, a quiet revolution that transforms every space it touches. Point 6, the testimony of others. This is the big one, the moment where life shows you the hidden power of the energy you give to the world. When you live in such a way that your presence leaves an imprint on those around you, when your words and actions carry the weight of encouragement, hope, and unwavering support, you begin to realize that the influence you create is far greater than what your eyes can see. This is where the unseen forces of human connection and spiritual law intersect. What you pour into others has a way of returning, often magnified when you least expect it. Take my story with Caleb, for instance. His attempts to turn others against me failed, but what's more interesting is that his actions had the opposite effect. They became the spark that revealed the loyalty of those around me. People who once lingered in the background of my life, who I thought of as distant acquaintances, suddenly stood in solidarity with me, almost like a spiritual army. They didn't do it because I asked them to or because I begged for validation. They did it because my life, through years of quiet investment in kindness, had already spoken for me. What Caleb didn't realize is that he was never just battling my reputation. He was up against the collective testimony of everyone I had ever uplifted, encouraged, or shown genuine care toward. And here's the truth: that kind of energy cannot be dismantled by gossip, betrayal, or lies. Social psychology supports this idea with what researchers call the principle of reciprocity, which states that people naturally feel compelled to return favors or kindnesses that they have received. When someone invests positively in your life, whether through encouragement, acts of generosity, or even simple empathy, the human brain codes this interaction as valuable. Studies have shown that this creates a psychological bond of trust, where people are not only more likely to reciprocate in kind, but also to defend those who have impacted them positively when adversity arises. In other words, loyalty becomes almost instinctual when it is rooted in authentic connection. What makes this phenomenon even more fascinating is how these subtle energies compound over time. Think about it. Every word of encouragement, every patient ear, and every act of generosity is like planting a seed in the soil of someone else's life. You don't always see it sprout immediately. Most of the time, it grows quietly beneath the surface, unnoticed by both the giver and the receiver. But when life delivers storms, when lies are spread, when betrayal strikes, or when challenges come, those seeds burst forth into blossoms of loyalty, courage, and advocacy. Suddenly, the people who were once silent observers become your most vocal defenders. It's not magic, it's the natural consequence of having lived with intention and authenticity. This isn't about strategy or manipulation. In fact, attempts to manipulate others are usually transparent and unsustainable. What makes the difference is sincerity. Genuine care imprints itself on the soul in a way that false gestures never can. In sociology, there's a concept called social capital, which refers to the resources and support networks people gain through trust and goodwill within their relationships. Unlike financial capital, which can be hoarded or stolen, social capital grows the more it is shared. When you give freely, whether that's time, encouragement, or compassion, you expand the invisible network of trust and loyalty around you. And here's the remarkable part. This network becomes your shield in ways you might never anticipate. It stands as living evidence that character cannot be erased by slander, because those who have experienced your authenticity firsthand will rise to testify on your behalf. In a world where so much emphasis is placed on image, status, and personal gain, the idea of investing in others without expectation feels countercultural. Yet it is this very posture of selfless authenticity that creates bonds strong enough to withstand trials. The Bible echoes this principle in Galatians 6:9. Let us not grow weary of doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up. The harvest may not always come in the form we expect, but it comes, and often at the precise moment we need it most. Imagine a courtroom where you don't even have to defend yourself, because those who have witnessed your integrity become your witnesses. That is the power of living authentically, of pouring light into others, and of embodying a presence that heals rather than harms. The beauty of this dynamic is that it transforms ordinary relationships into sacred bonds. Friends stop being just companions and become allies in truth. Acquaintances stop being bystanders and become testaments to your character. Even strangers who have caught a glimpse of your light may rise to your defense when you least expect it. All of this points back to one powerful truth. A life well lived is never lived alone. It leaves ripples that stretch beyond your personal story into the collective narrative of everyone you've touched. So when the moment comes and your character is tested, you don't have to scramble for validation or fight to be understood. The people who have felt your energy, who have been touched by your authenticity, will rise naturally. Not because you demanded it, not because you manipulated them into loyalty, but because your life has already spoken for you. Point 7, God's protection. Ultimately, this all comes down to God. He is not just a distant figure watching from above. He is your ultimate protector, your unshakable defender, and the constant presence that walks with you even when the world seems to turn against you. Throughout history, the most extraordinary people, the chosen ones, have understood this truth. Their strength was not merely in their talent, intellect, or charisma, but in the invisible shield of divine protection that surrounded them. When you walk with Him, you're not navigating life alone. You are moving with a force far greater than any human challenge, a force that turns obstacles into stepping stones and trials into triumphs. Scripture often reminds us that God's grace is a protective armor, one that no earthly power can breach. Consider the profound reassurance in Isaiah 54:17. No weapon formed against you shall prosper. This isn't just a poetic promise, it is a declaration of invincibility for those aligned with divine purpose. Every plot, every scheme, every hidden attack or betrayal, no matter how meticulously crafted, falters when God's hand is upon you. History is full of examples, leaders, prophets, and visionaries who seemed cornered by circumstances yet emerged stronger, guided by unseen forces, protected by wisdom and resilience far beyond their own. But understanding this truth goes beyond faith. It is a call to awareness. The chosen ones do not live in fear of what others may do. They live in conscious alignment with their destiny, trusting in the protection that God provides. It transforms how you approach life. Setbacks no longer feel like defeat, criticism loses its sting, and even the darkest moments carry a divine purpose. When you recognize that you are in His hands, the world's chaos becomes less intimidating, and every challenge becomes an opportunity to witness your resilience. So remember this, and carry it with you as both shield and compass. No matter what comes your way, no weapon, no plan, no storm can succeed against the chosen one walking with God. You are not merely surviving. You are thriving, guided, guarded, and unstoppable. This isn't just a comforting phrase, it's a powerful spiritual truth rooted in Scripture. Isaiah 54:17 declares, "No weapon formed against you shall prosper," and history shows how this plays out in the lives of God's people. Think of Joseph in the Bible, betrayed by his brothers, sold into slavery, and falsely accused, yet every scheme meant to destroy him only positioned him closer to his divine purpose. His enemies' lies collapsed, while his integrity elevated him to leadership in Egypt. That's what it means when we say the weapons may form, but they will not succeed. Even modern psychology supports this principle. Research shows that truth and consistent integrity eventually outshine slander because credibility is built over time while lies crumble under scrutiny. So, chosen ones, when whispers and rumors circulate about you, don't waste your energy trying to chase them down. Instead, continue to walk in light, grounded in faith and character. The same God who exposed Joseph's brother's treachery and elevated him will do the same for you. In the end, the very people who doubted you will be forced to acknowledge the grace and favor on your life. That's not just survival, that's spiritual victory.